right, is everybody ready? You ready?
Yes, sorry. Just chewing my nails.
Just doing your thing. Chewing my nails.
Contention one is killing silence. Despite popular opposition and public outcry for the Assad dictator against the Assad dictatorship, there continues to be a harsh crackdown on Russia, and the safety of citizens. They're selectively arming rebels, and negotiations are held on service, giving the regime's clear support, within the form of things like gas attacks. In the past 23-month conflict, there have been 70,000 and 90,000 deaths, where 750,000 people have fled the country. This has led to the internal displacement of 2.5 million people. The state is literally using things like rape to control the population, both male and female rape. It is impossible to say the number of rapes that have been that have happened, but the reportage has increased by 75% within government facilities. A tool of torture. This is indiscriminate rape that causes psychological manipulation, and 20% of the reported rapes lead to death. The U.S. silence on Russian support is the most striking example of the U.S. double standard of human rights promotions. We carefully maneuver our geopolitics relative to the related by the failure to renounce the blatant support, or we don't renounce our blatant support for human rights abuse. The concern for imperialist pressure over human rights is part of the neoliberal pursuit of security that drives us towards military intervention in the name of superior Western ideals. We are therefore upholding things like tyrannical regimes with knowledge of rights abuses in order to avoid the constraints of danger, like things like instability, things that we articulate as dangerous. These are attempts to master the unknowable future, to securitize alliances for future capitalist accumulation. This creates our immunity where democracy today is perceived as under attack by terrorists and dictators. The U.S. is silence all places where democracy is trying to be upheld, and we are not overthrowing the authoritarians that we know to be problematic. Therefore, the Western response is to instead curtail the very freedoms and human rights that we claim to defend. This leads to a drive for democracy towards suicide in order to save ourselves. What's the plan? Megan and I think the President of the United States should increase pressure on Russia to renounce support for the Assad regime. Again, Megan and I think that the President of the United States should increase pressure on Russia to renounce support for the Assad regime. There's your copy. Questions and concepts.
You defend the other.
We defend, yes, but we take pressure.
Okay.
Democracy to come. The resolution causes us to think about our opinions and our roles in it. Talking about the topic reminds us of the irony of U.S. exporting freedom. It looks less like democracy and more like an empire because we support dictatorships in the name of freedom. Our democracy is not that good anyway. We are drunk sometimes. Our affirmative is an attempt to let you think about democracy in a different way. It's not something that we have, but it's something that is a promise to come, something that we can aspire to always become more democratic rather than in politics thrown down or competing terrorism scenarios. It's time that we talk about something different. Our affirmative is a call for the depth of nuance that we're going to talk about different things, where we care and hope about different things. This will be a day of debate democracy next. The judge evaluates the basic lens of deconstruction and the judge adopts unconditional hospitality towards the other. The objective of EMP is impossible, and we are all particular beings who never know what it's like to be anyone but ourselves. Violence is universalizable, particular, where every action commits violence, but the worst violence has come from a refusal to actually take into account what we are actually responsible for. Next. Calculation means no future. Little a that reduces us to an extension of the present, which changes the entail, this change entails an expression of difference, but now calculations are pre-complement and are pre-comprehending the future. There is no sense, but we can never exhaustively describe the present without the limitations of time and perspective, and this shuts out difference towards the difference. It makes the factors necessary to value. Then the facts make the question of what it means to be alive and what it means to be prescribed value. I think it's the openness to the other is the only way we can actually create meaning and find individual agency. Life without difference is no worse. Life without difference is worse. No life at all, because it makes the future remind us, understand exhaustion, repetition of the same thing over and over again. There's no delight, no disappointment. There is only commiseration, which leads to extermination. This reduces difference to the exact same thing throughout every single aspect of life. Calculation makes us all containers of value where we can be manipulated and disregarded upon selfish ethical patterns where we can be responsible for the violence that we commit. Next is the leap of faith. The affirmative takes a radical leap of faith towards radical alterity. Our ideas are important precisely because they cannot be on our current trajectory. Also, the act complicates politics because our affirmative is a reason, not just a simplification or parameterization. All the responsibility that it opens us up to the future. The affirmative resource to knowing what it will mean for a lot of us to take into account the rationality of the unknown, the unexpected, which means that this creates a transformative experience. Also, it's complex, complexity doesn't justify complacency, rationalization, inaction, because we can drive this actually about purity, not about possibility. There are always downsides to doing things. This shouldn't stop us. This shouldn't stop us from responding to the other. We have an ethical obligation to do this. Also, our work is never done. What he sees is a stance of justifications of the us dealing with contradictions in the future, contradictions of solvency, and contradictions of discuss that open us up to a space where we can have a better understanding of the other. Every single action, every single action creates some other. Every single category creates some other. We should be able to not just resign ourselves to nihilism, but instead to reach out towards the other, to be able to accept the other. This is the ultimate ethical impact. This is the ultimate ethical action we can have, and it's precisely what I see. Okay, we're going to do 2 off. Actually, we're going to do framework first, and then 2 off, the case in order. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So framework first. Got it. 2 off. Okay. And yeah, case number. If you like to flow net benefits on a separate sheet of paper, you might want 3 off. I don't usually think that's necessary. Does that sound good, Mitch? Okay. Everybody ready? Our framework said that we should recommend hypothetical consequences of the PCC versus competitive versus policy opportunity versus first violation. There's violation. They said they don't support the other numbers for justice education. Our topic, we used to talk about topic areas in the circuit in order to get a definition training. Each topic with the next service. I'm willing to use other. I'm not doing it. One thing goes against everything we prep time. There's 20 minutes of abuse next year. Our next service which I made solve. You can read charge with any different methodology under interpretation, but the purpose how predictable the implementation plan in order to execute secure effective ground for the secure effective ground for the our next argument that you can't look at the lens of construction through looking through a PI lens and looking what would actually happen to the next sort of in a world where we have one secure plan how that can be constructed now organized policy democracy in South Dakota after the calculated interaction. trip. Your plan is to use a superficial method of tension from Carrie, which he is anticipating that Carrie will work with Assad directly in status quo. Means that Carrie's capital declines. He has no capital to try to introduce consistency, splitting future links. Argument two is Carrie's key purpose and first trying to increase military budget level point after saying Japan is increased defense to 10-year high. Japan also there led fireworking shots and feel like something since national war. Carrie's keeping different checks in order to advance his war. He's pointing that the United States will necessarily be as the will defense of Stockholm Island, but China still put on tourism maps and thinking that China will to go to protect the United States could lead to a massive war in the region. Our argument is that the war is Stockholm Island draw the United States, at least lead to a conventional war between China and the United States. Good, Mitch? Okay. Counterplay. Mitch and I think that the United States federal government should grant asylum to the regime of Bashar al-Assad. Mitch and I think that the United States federal government should grant asylum to the regime of Bashar al-Assad. First of all, this link to this being carries to look at something about directly to stop and start to be stop your plan, you can stop your plan much better. Obviously, the United States looks like a ridiculous movement when we've been supporting certain rebels in the region, but now we're offering Bashar al-Assad asylum probably shows that there's just a mystique of democracy within the United States in the status quo, and the answer is you can't for this first mission. I won't let you or plain text guys and we won't agree to permutation. Means absolutely no chance of permutation in this instance, but yeah, that's fine. Anything else? Mitch?
Yeah.
Do you want anything else?
No, we're good.
Okay. Let's spend some time on case. Go down to case regulations. What?
This case and I talk.
Joint Russian relations.
Yeah, actually.
Let's do case first and we'll see what we're doing. Let's go to case first. Go down to the calculations and no future arguments. First arguments we can go for corporations. First is we cut approximately root costs we can make this based on approximate we'll have the approximate cost of the situation. I.e. if I flip switch the light will turn on or off, it doesn't mean that you know every root cause why electricity works, doesn't work, but it can't. You know, we may actually judge about why things are able to happen, but the next argument is that problems do have material foundations. You can't guess that would react to certain situation. Yes, terrorists may be caused by things like command, American imperialism, it's that there are still terrorists that exist in status quo. There's something that have to be looked at. It's third argument is assuming that there's no calculations of the future that necessarily leads to nihilism. If you can't predict the future, it means you should never act because there could potentially be something terrible that happens. That lead to inaction, face atrocity, just by the little rounds, but also just by the genocide. You look at it and say you should do nothing, and should do nothing instance, or should do everything instance. That means both supporting and not supporting dictatorial regimes. Obviously, so basically, what's done by either leads to nihilism, or you because you don't know the future, you're willing to support anything and take a direct leap of faith. If you're just supporting anything, you can support moral atrocities.
Yeah, let's get Duridian faith and then China faith.
Right. Let's take a Duridian faith that rape is good could also be included within your argument about a leap of faith because about considering possibilities of action. But our next argument is predictions models are good in some instances. Great example the United States has been conducting models to see how cyber attacks would be able to impact lives of the electric vehicle in the United States because of cyber models have worked. They've actually prevented blackouts for other reasons like storms, etc. Since these predictable models can't solve things, but also we said the models that predictable calculations about the future are necessarily good because if we can predict, for example, that some country will not go to war, we decide that some country will not go to war, probably contain violence. Go on to the dream of the faith. We feel radical alterity is possible in the world of realism arguments and this inheritance self-interest has to do with it and never institutions that are all self-interested and self-interested means radical alterity is now possible in the realm of international relations. If you're playing this and you found it either did a select proposal or everybody just being United States are open to fucking everybody probably to a war with those conservative men. Also you said that we should still respond. Your offense is predicated on action, right? Which means if the negative offers a different method via the counterplan that would be better for responding to this instance, of radical austerity, that you don't see your reason to prefer us. You don't have a net beneficial reason why your plan is a good thing, just that taking action in this instance would be a good thing. The disadvantage proves that there is a reason to avoid that action. Yes, Mitch? Would you like Russian relations, or what do you think? Any other arguments on this? We got a minute.
Yeah, hang on, let me think. Actually, yeah, I don't think so. What I would say is that
Yes or no
they
question.
don't have fresher key warrant, right? Since everyone would resolve all of their open to difference between the
How about these? I have a good idea. You don't have pressure cream warm machines, really have to be able to solve this, but also think that we all also think that if you have a rush, we necessarily say no to these pressure creams in there. And the United States would we no, which means it's first, and then say in series of giant pressure treat partner, not only our sales people went out, but also oil as first being Russia would want to do anything against Syria also hosts Russia. Russia's only warm water based here. See, the real animals that means that Russia will not want to do this, maybe won't not choose also Putin doesn't want to look terrible, doesn't want to look terrible. 78% of Russians agree with Iran as this is strong against Russia, or strong against the United States, something like etc. Means that Putin won't want to see publicly, and doing something that appeasing that the United States necessarily means he says no, and all of your offense is predicated on our ability to stop the Assad regime and staff fully calculated, so obviously much more beneficial way of doing this. Obviously, the third Russian says no, or if it doesn't link to the calculating because it doesn't make Putin lose any face if we offer Assad style. Did I give it to you? Or did you give it to us?
I gave it to you. I don't. Okay.
Let me find it.
First of all, I'm just going to walk up to the podium and organize anything that will make me happy. Place is a poor place for my office. Order is going to be the case. There's an overview that I would like you to flow. Then it is going to be the case in order. Actual, then no, it's not. It's going to be the framework debate. And then it's going to be the case order. Then it's going to be time plan. And then it's going to be the dispatch. I flowed your arguments about Russia says no, pressure not key on the bottom of the case flow. Where do you want those?
It's right.
I mean,
That's where you want
Where,
I said it again.
can you give the order?
Yeah. Overview, flow, framework, case and order, all of our, I don't have them numbered, all of our contentions. It's going to be calc and then leap of faith, then the counter plan, then the carry the test. Everyone good? That's not.
I know you noticed it's really echoey in here.
Yeah,
So
I'll try to cover this up.
thank you.
If I don't though, I just,
I'll just do like
Bullet.
one of this.
big mistake is getting the first page of the case today. We don't have to win the calculations are bad in all instances. We have to win the calculation of the other in the instance of Russia and Syria is bad, which means that none of your arguments provide terminal defense or terminal offense on the case today, not capable of solving for the democracy terms that are terminal they solve for our terror, like means that there's no propensity for you to solve the root cause of value life, which you can see controls whether or not extinction matters. This means that we're winning the impact level of the debate. You don't even have to look through a critical framework. Just winning the impact level means we're going to win. Framework. Cross my framework is the issue of evidence by let's critique starts less to have an unconditional will have to tell the other. First argument is the first argument is the first argument is the argument our statement is that can't get you two arguments that teach you to keep first argument is evidence that doesn't exist, which means that hypothesis testing in possible don't exist in objective ground. They're shaped by the ways between individuals' experience both around us and the way in which we enact the political system. We engage in assume the hypothesis testing possibilities exist outside of it. Preclude the fact that we're going to conclude the fact that the hypothesis that we make are conditioned on the social fabric of the society that we come in, which means that our consequent first order to determine the validity of our hypothesis testing. Next argument, we in your interpretation, we can set that on hypothetical consequences of the plan. We simply say that the framework comes first and you can evaluate the world of consequences. We shouldn't evaluate the world with the consequences too, because it allows the right discourse to shift or to prevent the impact from the impact of the accident from happening. This means that this happening. We need interpretation in order to this why we shape your hypothesis testing. We come first. Standards. First argument is death of education. We articulate the only way to solve death of education because the only way to create new education is to make the question is this north exists in the structural institutions that we made. If we don't know this, we simply have to make we talk about nuclear war with Russia So, you say homes have material foundation, that's fine. We're saying the material suffering that people have to be serious, probably pretty important, and we should prioritize Russian relations or whatever over it. You say no calculation leads to nihilism. This is a true fits all to show that the race of individuals is capable of understanding values and business. The only way to understand values of individuals is to understand even each other. Races and growth and race individuals that have different ideas and optimize democracy. One of the most for instance, people who visit in Syria, a community can understand the others, only convince the connection with other people that are capable of understanding ourselves. People who exist in isolation, exist in society, and use this unique key to act right life. Leap of faith. You misunderstand leap of faith arguments. Our faith arguments say that we can't know everything. There are simply things that exist in the world and factors that exist we're not capable of understanding the outcome of their actions. Because just because we can't predict everything doesn't mean we shouldn't act. We simply we will. We're giving you an argument that says that we believe that everyone has to be. We really believe in ethics that people human rights abuses are having sex or bad. We're going to stop them. Yes, that's the faith we're taking. Not the faith that says rape is good. This is the standard faith. No office on that. There's no office on that. Next, we make calculation future complex and faith argument. It's probably a little bit loud for racial heritage. It's loud to understand and recognize by life. This is irrationality. No possibility to open up. It's loud for agency of individual actors. Realism. First, I can cross life race based on construction. There is we can't understand discrimination. We understand the ways in which humans and the interaction with exist. This means that if discrimination may be treated in a way that we have elected to change the health of station stage furthermore, biological science proves that cooperation and never vision these last to survive in the long run. You said pressure. These arguments make no sense. Our actions are the point of the act. I'm on the bottom of pressure arguments to make your speech. The point of the act is for the United States to take a very strong stand against the Assad regime to support human rights. The United States doing this because we are the democratic leader shows a shift in international politics. We say that we don't care if Russia went back. That's the calculation arguments that we're making earlier in the debate. It's also because the calculation is never capable of solving because you don't embrace the austerity by giving Assad asylum. This doesn't solve for anything. You can't solve for austerity. Disadvantage, no, justified framework. Also, I don't understand where the link comes from. We're having to complicate something, Harry. And the State Department has multiple actors, multiple different departments, means that they can do multiple different things at once to a trade-off. And of course, it's kind of a readiness that's based on negotiations, adoption mechanisms, yeah, it means that just has not been needed.
One second.
Oh yeah, cool. All right, so framework. And then we'll talk about the counter plan. There'll be an overview. You can just pull this all overview on the counter plan. The carrying out benefit, and then the Russia says no debate, and then go to her overview, and then back to the top of the piece. So good. So I'm going to go to the next thread, and then to the bottom of the piece, and then back. Good. Right. Framework is means, but we're not, we will a couple things today. First of all, we'll win it there. They're radically it's bad because we need to say always have things like rape and immigration. We need to say government's conceded if you're always supposed to be open to more impact turning reason why their ethics is good. No reason any office whenever they're being discouraged space impact turning their ethics is bad. Way to do go to the office of prayer, go to the counterpart solves the entirety of the app. They say there's only any of the app because it doesn't have personal for they can see a few things. First of all, obviously the United States opening themselves to creating Assad with the regime of Assad is a huge juxtaposition of the current United States position on how they view international relations. They conceded that this obviously radical rupture the way the United States approaches international relations is obviously our rhetorical stance on what we think the United States should do to expose itself to difference. Their argument is that we should pressure Russia because that is good for human rights. Rather, they still constantly avoid the root cause of what they actually talk about with the Assad regime by doing things through back channels like having to pressure Russia. As their means to resolve conflicts in Syria is still in the same type of negotiations or calculations that they say is bad. Only the affirmative opens the United States, or at least demands the United States to be open to actual cultural difference, which is what they talk about is a good thing, because we say that they should come here probably to be, probably at least even if it doesn't resolve any of that, their arguments are resolving it. So what matters is only different how you do that, how you go about doing it or trying to resolve that. Our government opens themselves up to this. They don't make a permutation do both, which is fucking damning for them, because it means that we will end in terms of reason why their approach to international relations internally, in terms of all their act, also reason that probably there's a risk that some calculations are true, which is the reason why you should vote for the carry. Said they didn't make a count, or they said at least the counter argument, which is still net benefit having something in this discursive realm in the realm is how we think you should view or go to carry focus and said now secretary's focus and successful is diplomatic capital of China and Japan, because it's a diplomatic problem approach against Japan as well as soft against China. They consider presenting conflict or some conflict over this is about violence. They say no because of framework. We can see that we mean that they don't discourse, but they sort of hypothetical and act with what they actually are saying. Is their ethics of approach? They still get a link to their inbound discourse. Our way of viewing the world is probably better. Next, they say Obama doesn't point out the State Department wrong. You can see the couple of linkers, the reason why Russia or Kerry has to be focused on Russia, but B also sees the United States being asserting itself, means that China freaks out that the United States is going to assert itself against them. Reason why so when you say the State Department is multiple entities, you can see that the Kerry diplomatic pressure is what's necessary on the focus. They actually say the Obama Foundation has triggered all of these arguments are police unwarranted arguments. We still try or for extension. It is true that with some arguments of prediction as being some inevitable or good, that means you should vote for the distance being the counterpart of our advocacy. Go to the state of the this is damning for them. It means that their plan actually doesn't do anything. The fact that Russia says no because of massive because that connection with Syria, because that connection to Syria is the only war result of military contract suggests that their ethics is a bunch of bullshit when they say that because precisely because we can't do the reason why we should, but they don't actually consider a real world things and what would actually resolve the atrocity, which has been pretty damning because they say that the United States need to take a stance against Assad. Only the counterpart is opening themselves up to difference. They don't take a stance against Assad, they take a stance against Russia, which is not, it means they don't get any extra solvency. Overview answer, their overview of the line where they say the calculation the other is bad because of what at least instability. First of all, they conceded that some calculations are never there to no one. They've conceded that some calculations are good, like we can know that rape is bad. And then there are other arguments about leap of faith is that we can't know calculations. If their argument is true that all calculations are socially constructed, this applies just as much to the disbad as it does to knowing that rape is bad. So they're in a double bind. Either they've double turned themselves because they've said rape is bad and we should be always open to difference, or if they go for it and impact to the app that rape is bad, and that proves that calculations are predictable and they haven't made a calculation doesn't solve the app argument because they can see that Assad would say yes and then we approach their difference, which means that we're the only ones that can actually resolve these arguments, results in the NATO. Can go to the potential one. Okay. They make the United States to take a stance against human rights. They plan us to take a stance against human rights rather they say that we should just pressure Russia and divergently go around about the issue. When they talk about opens themselves to difference, reason why our ethical act will resolve all that are arguments. They say that we go to the line. First of all, also arguments that we can know the world means and probably when our dissad. They can see that we can. It's true there's no totals or lies of transcendent claims by the world, but there are proxies proximate causes that we can't know. Just like I said that we know that rape is probably the reason why we can know something about international relations and how diplomats act with each other. The reason why I can communicate with you via language. Also another reason you've also made a damning concession around this is you concede that material foundations are real. They suggest that we can actually know that real things are real. Threats are true in the world. Like you can see the terrorist example on the Bible, and you say that thinking that we know everything is precisely what reduces everyone to agency. That's not our argument at all. Our argument is that we should. Our argument is that we can have some sort of communication and dialogue, and that there is a structure to international relations, the way that dialogue found functions, which proves that this is true. Because you conceded the thesis of all that arguments means you actually have to embrace the fact that those structures might exist, to embrace the fact that those structures are what produce agency in the first place. There's a reason why you have to do both for the world is kind of true in some ways. Next step, you can accept our disadvantage, constantly being open to everything. If it is true that they win, that the disadvantage isn't real, because you have to be constantly open to all different things. They can see the slew of warrants why that is actually probably a bad thing. You can see that you have to be open to things like child rape or a bunch of other morally opposed arguments, but you can't ever say no to anything and do no anything because you have to make your leap of faith, aka rape a child, aka kill someone, are all these arguments that are become permissible in a world in which we just do nothing because everything is technically socially controlled. You don't think about any consequences in the world. You say that we have to understand and embrace is the key argument. If that is true and you can understand and embrace, probably the reason why you should be open to the possibility of IR functioning the way that the dissent describes the world legal faith argument. You just repeatedly can't know everything. Over the answer to this above reason why you probably know some things and you're losing on the big calculation. First of all, calculations are good because we come to know the world is such a fact that we can know that it's socially constructed only because we make calculations about how we go about knowing the world in the first place. You literally know analysis, even if it's true there's some instances calculations are bad. The app is a reason why it's good because it's not comparing. The only way that they can make calculations is bad because they can go for, like we talked about, nuke war that justifies continuing rape, assumes that we haven't offered a counter proposal, which is the counter plan, right? That assumes a conservative ethic, which is don't do the plan because of dissent, allow rape because of nuclear war. Not our position. Our argument is do the counter plan to solve the app, but also don't allow nuclear war, right? So it resolves that tension because our ethics isn't a defense of the status quo. Rather, the counter plan resolves all of those impacts that they can weigh against it, which means it's still that offense, and you have to be open to that. Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, I'm going to start on the I'm going to do an overview, and then I'm going to do the counter plan. On the counter plan, I'll reference the disadvantage and Russia says no block. It should be pretty clear. I try to make my LRs as such. Then I would go to the case. Is that good for everybody? Overview. The negative is winning in two worlds. If you grant us the we meet on framework, then we get links to our disadvantage, which means it's a clear role for the counter plan, which is not linked to this disadvantage, or the Russia says no argument. Simply do not win the we meet on framework. We win because they make a radical alternative possibility that is too open, and their bad ethics it assumes a world in which we could look at the face of rape and say we don't know if it's good or bad, justifies these atrocities. Our indictment of this seems to indicate there is a world where we could look at it, we could know the consequences of proximal actions and come out against the moral atrocities. Let's go to the counterclaim now. There are a couple of benefits to the counterclaim. The first is the argument that we say that we expose the United States better than the claim ever could. That's because we take direct action and slap in the face of the lie that the United States is telling the rest of the world about our democracy over and over again, that we are a good democratic country, that we give it to the right types of people. No, our counterclaim gives asylum to Bashar al-Assad, which proves that the United States is just a myth of democracy that has been used in status quo in order to shove things like rape underground in status quo. I know he's going to come up here about poetic about their excellent impacts, which are well impacted now, but I think the counterclaim has the capacity to solve for these on the meta level. The next net benefit to the counterclaim is the Russia says no arguments. All of their offense is predicated on a situation which to know the world. Case. Under the calculations, argument, no, actually. I want to know the point of their affirmative arguments. They say the point of the affirmative the United States should take, this stance not only against the way the United States has been acting in the past, but also to stop things like killings and raping the status quo. We say that Russia is a roundabout way of doing that. That engaged in the same framework of international relations that we've been doing for hundreds of years. That's the argument about why their affirmative is not a radical enough rupture to actually be appropriately fit to solve this problem. But the next argument is we don't win any framework plans. I could see Katie coming out here and trying to make some match about how it's way they have some criticism first, which doesn't assume the world of counterplan. But if somehow we don't get the counterplan, I don't know how this could possibly happen, and we don't get the disadvantage, I think this ethics turn is pretty good. It says that when we embrace radical when we reject the notion of proximal class, we reject the notion of material foundations that underpin the disadvantage, we allow ourselves to have radical alterity in the face of morally repugnant or right from or things that are wrong. That's not just exclusive to rape, but it's also exclusive to many other things like bullies beating up one another or fairness just being destroyed, which we all know is the worst thing that could ever happen. Embracing that sort of bad ethics that is embraced throughout the entirety of the plan, it would be an indication that all these atrocities would be allowed to continue, which means that even if in the short term they are able to make some sort of rhetorical statement against the Assad regime, in the long term all of these sorts of genocides and violence by soldiers will just continue. You want to say anything else?
They haven't contested that.
They really haven't contested counterplan. I don't think that they expected that there could be an alternative that would be able to solve for the ethics of the PFC better and more directly.
Order is an overview. And then, we're going to talk about this 1AC. And we're going to talk about your count plan. But mostly we're going to talk about the count plan in context of the 1AC, so a lot of that discussion is just going to happen on the case, since that's where a lot of the discussion is happening during the entirety of the debate. Is there anything?
This is an easy round for you both the University of Oregon, and I don't know why you are handing a Semite's ballot to us, but our role of the ballot argument was absolutely conceded coming out of the entirety of the block. This means that the only thing for the judge to evaluate is who embraces hospitality towards the other. The best what I see is obviously the best solution. Embracing the other means allowing individuals to be understood outside of geopolitical realist views, which allows them to determine agency for themselves. This is compromised in a world of the counter, and only we do this because only we condemn Assad and embrace the Syrian other, despite the possibility of geopolitical backlash, despite the possibility of the disad. The counterplan fails to do this because it puts a geopolitical net benefit that increases value. Like you can see, the biggest impact in the debate, our affirmative is the only one that has an impact in the end debate. Furthermore, yep, you want this right now? I get the overview. Okay. Furthermore, they can see that the calculation with the 1AC critiques prevents agency and makes people into objects, which is the root of all violence, and makes the instance of the disad justifiable, makes the instance of the disad possible. None of their impacts can be weighed if there is no value left because of the lack of alterity. In response to the LR review, unfortunately, Miranda, conceding the framework means that you do not get access to your dissent. There's a fundamental misunderstanding of what debate is if you believe this. Furthermore, you must point at benefit to the counterplan that you better promote democracy. However, look at the counterplan action. You create confusion about the U.S. democracy. You do not highlight why U.S. democracy is wrong. You create confusion because now you are just reinforcing the double standard of our rights promotion that we have. This is the very argument that we've been making throughout the entirety of the 1AC. There's a double standard of rights promotion in the status quo where we do things and we also do the opposite things. We endorse dictators, but we also say that this is in the name of freedom, which means that there's an enormous misunderstanding about democracy that only gets reinforced in the rules of the counterplan. This is not an ethics term that you access. This is a disadvantage, and it means that you don't solve 1% of the 1AC. Also, the plan is a recognition that we are wrong. It is consistent with the best ethics because it's a statement that we were wrong to support a dictator. You give the dictator asylum. That is a good thing for him, which means that you do a confusing democratic action. The counterplan I already did that. Okay. On the argument about we endorse freedom, that's morally important for one mention. For two, our argument is not that we open ourselves to every instance of things that could possibly be possible. You are misunderstanding our case if that's what you think we're saying. Our argument is that an act of a leap of faith means embracing the ability for individuals to access their own agency and their own value of life. The 1AC allows people to be people. We embrace that people can understand their own agency. It is being imposed on them by the structure of domination that exists in the status quo, by the structure of the state taking control and taking authority over their lives. When people are calculated as political tools in the world of the status quo, they are incapable of determining their future for themselves. We say that this political calculation is wrong, and guess what? That is reinforced in the rules of the counterplan and rules of the dissent. The very logic that you use to explain why the counterplan is net beneficial over the 1AC is the exact type of political logic and political calculation that makes it possible for us to use people as political tools. This means that the counterplan and the 1AC, or the counterplan and the 1AC are fundamentally incompatible. Your dissent proves exactly why your counterplan can't solve the act. It does not prove a net benefit over the act ethics. Furthermore, we don't even need to win that all calculation is bad. We just need to win that the calculation of the other in the instance of people being raped to death, of people being forced out of their home, people being internally dislocated, people being externally forced into being a refugee. We need to win that that is bad, which I think we've successfully done. There is not an argument made about why the instance of the act is not true, which means that we get 100% access to the story of the act. This story of the act says that all of these things are happening in Syria right now. If you've read the news for 1 second, you know that there are a lot of human rights violations happening in Syria. The 1AC articulates that as problematic, but articulates more than just what is happening, but the political calculation that we use, the justifications that the U.S. uses to not condemn this. We articulate that as problematic. This is why the counterplan doesn't solve the act. Counterplan can't solve the act because the counterplan says, oh, Assad, I see what you did. And just come to America. Just come to America. We'll let you hang out. Maybe you can go on a vacation to Florida or San Diego. You can stay at Megan's house and pet Mr. T, her nice cat. Why don't you do that? The act says no. Stop doing human rights violations. These are fundamentally different. The ethics argument that you make is not responsive to our ethics. Your counterplan is a negative action versus is a positive action versus a negative action. And you use political calculation to justify it, which means these are the only arguments we need to win this debate. That you do the opposite direction of action, and that you use a bad justification for it. Easy argument.
Always This is ridiculous. Katie, I will be outside.
I need to see the illustrator.
Cut some.
Yeah.